Welcome to our mountain property here in beautiful Appalachia. We are anticipating the change to fall and all of its beautiful colors. We continue with our gradual development of the property, and the fall season is really the ideal weather for outdoor projects. So we will take full advantage and enjoy this beautiful season to finish up some projects before we get into the first freeze. The foundation for our small house was completed late summer, so we've allowed time for the mortar to cure. We need to move on with getting that block wall sealed with a weatherizing sealer. We also need to manage water around the foundation. We're going to do a simple French drain. The concrete footer needs to be buried before we get into the freezing temperatures. We're also going to add exterior insulation to the block wall, and then we'll move on to working the water line connecting from the tank into the foundation. So plenty to do. Going to start on sealing the block walls today. I'm going to start with the east wall. It'll be probably the most difficult. There's not a lot of space to work. We're using the Semco liquid sealer. It's supposed to be waterproofing, etc., etc. So hopefully that goes well. Are back at it today with the sealing of the block wall, putting on the waterproofing membrane. We had managed to get 3 coats on the east wall, and then we took a break for a couple days when the rain came in. Now we're working on the north and south walls. The first coat is always the most difficult because the block is so porous. It's really soaking up that first coat quite a bit. But otherwise, this Semco liquid membrane seems to work pretty well. In addition to the sealer we're putting on the block wall, we decided to use the leftover mortar to mix that up and run that along the seam of the block wall where it meets the concrete footer, and use that as an extra means to divert water away from the base of the foundation. And as we roll the wall with the Semco sealer, we're just bringing that all the way down over top of that mortar joint. And of course, it doesn't look attractive, but that is not an issue because it's going to all be covered up when the French drain is in. I know it's autumn when there are black walnuts all over the ground. All right, here we are on the south wall of the house. It's got 3 coats of the Semco on it now. I hope that's enough. It seems like we're going through it pretty fast. I think we're on our 3rd 5-gallon pail of the Semco. And we still need to do the west wall. That doesn't have any coats on it yet, and the north wall is still bare. So we still have I don't know, I guess about halfway to go, but gorgeous, gorgeous weather. Sunny, blue sky. It's curing fast, so really, I can't ask for any better than that. It's October, and this is perfect. We have completed the sealing of the block walls with the Semco. Each wall has 3 coats, and the original 15 gallons that we had ordered was not sufficient, so we did need to get an additional 5 gallons. So total of 20 gallons for those 4 walls. We have finished with the sealing of the exterior block with the Semco membrane. We ended up with 3 coats on each wall. Seems reasonable. And it is curing quickly with the beautiful dry weather we've had. Now we need to move to the interior, the block walls, and work on the joint, the seam between the wall and the concrete footer. So I'm working here on the inside block wall with this typical asphalt stuff. We do like that Semco sealer. We were using that on the exterior block wall, and especially down at the base of the wall. It's a little pricey. So our decision for the interior wall was, we'll just do the asphalt to seal this mortar and the seam between the block wall and the footer. And then of course, we'll fill in here with some more gravel to get this leveled out before we do the vapor barrier. But that is the plan for today. Our road access up the mountain to the build site, we finished excavating that back in the spring, and that is holding up well, thankfully. The real test will be when we get into late autumn with more rain, and then winter, snow melting. We'll see how it does. We don't have any gravel yet on it, so that's another task to do before the season changes. We have a fair number of military and practice flights above our property, so it makes for a nice diversion from the work. All right, so today is another beautiful autumn day, plenty of sunshine, and we're starting to get some stone here on the driveway access, which we had excavated, really started last year and then finished excavating it in the spring, in the May time frame. It's quite the process. We started putting the driveway fabric down first so that we can try to keep a hold of this gravel that we're putting down. We haven't done any gravel yet on the descent of the driveway on the steep part. So for now we're just getting some gravel here on the top, but it's a start, it's progress. Our current project is placing the sill plates on the top of each wall. We are using a pressure treated 2x12, and we have those in 10-foot lengths so that we can have at least 2 or 3 anchor bolt connections in each sill plate. Before attaching the sill plates, we needed to check the block walls for square. So we measured the 2 diagonals, found that we were not in square, pretty close, but about an inch or so out. So then we needed to establish where to place the sill plates to make those diagonals equivalent, get us back in square, so we'll be ready to do the framing. Not Good progress on the sill plates. I think we have 2 more boards to go, and that'll be done. Good morning. Wow, it is just a really beautiful morning here, and it's quiet. Made some coffee and just taking a time out from the work. Enjoying the bird song. Sunrise was beautiful. On site, it's another gorgeous fall day. We are finishing up with the sill plates. There's maybe two more sill plates to do after we worked through the issue with the foundation not being quite square. It was really close though. But we needed to work through that with the sill plates and being able to make that square. We have decided on an exterior insulation for the block wall. So we're using the rigid foam board, comes in 4x8 panels, very easy to work with. So before we put in the French drain around the base of the foundation, we need to go ahead and get the first row of panels across the bottom of the wall, and then we put in place the corrugated pipe. That'll be in a sleeve to protect it from getting filled with dirt, and then do a heavy layer of gravel over that pipe, and that essentially is the French drain. The second purpose of the gravel is to bury the concrete footer to ensure that it is at least 2 feet below the frost line. So we have quite a bit more gravel we need to add around the foundation before the first freeze. Well, here on the mountain we are fully into fall. We've lost a lot of the leaves off of the trees. It's been a nice mild week, so we've been hustling to get the water line covered up and sufficiently buried before the freeze comes. We've got maybe one more day, and then we expect to have at least 2 nights in a row with low down to 22 degrees. And yeah, that's low enough. So we're trying to be prepared for that. The wellhead and the water tank are about 50 feet above that north wall. So we'll run the trench from there over to the northeast corner to send the electrical and the water line through that corner. The well, we had that drilled about 2 years ago, and initially we thought we had a dry well. That was concerning. What we found is that due to the drought, that the well just had an extremely low recharge rate. So we decided to install a 1,000-gallon tank so that we could store water when it is plentiful. We had a temporary setup to draw water from the tank in the summertime to do the mortar and to do the concrete. So we had to cut that original line out of the water tank so that we could put in the elbow and connect it with a new section of water line to run toward the house. We've decided to also incorporate a shutoff valve at the water line shortly after it leaves the tank, and then as well have a sleeve going down into the ground to be able to easily access that valve. We also have a pressurizer tank here on site, so we can run that off of the generator to do some test of the water line and make sure it's good to go before we bury it. Got some beautiful work weather at the moment. Nice and mild for November. As of Thanksgiving, we're going to be pushing into the below freezing temperatures. So we're trying to hustle, finish up with running the water line into the house and getting that covered grade PVC to give some extra protection since we've got a lot of rock in the soil here. And we do plan on using this, being able to come through this section, drive over it. Okay, the water line is in through the foundation. The electrical for the well pump and the water tank pump are in. The joints are mortared. We just need to finish with getting everything buried. The wind is really picking up, reminding us that the cold front will be coming in anytime now. But we're thankful for all that we were able to accomplish. The weather has been beautiful and mostly dry through the fall, so we've been blessed with that. As we get into winter and the snows and freezing temperatures, we will have to pause our building work because we really can't access the site very well. But after the winter weather is past, we will be back at it. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.